The Flying Kipper. One cold winter evening, Henry pulled into his shed. Edward was there too, and he had some news. "Hello there, Henry," said Edward. "So Tom has told me that you'll have to wake up very early tomorrow, around 5 o'clock to be exact." "And why is that?" replied Henry, groggily. "Well, an engine from the mainland was supposed to take the Flying Kipper," explained Edward. "A Raven Q6, I believe. Anyways, she's derailed on the points just outside her sheds, and it'll take a long time for her to get back on the rails. So Tom Matt wants you to take it instead." "Why not, Henry, old boy?" asked his driver. "After all, the special coal they gave you is working to a T." "Oh, I suppose, but I've never pulled this kind of a train before." "Don't be silly," laughed the driver. "You've pulled freight trains before. The Kipper is the same." "Fine, I'll do it. Let's go." And Henry rolled out of the sheds, beginning to question to himself if he should have accepted the offer. Soon Henry arrived at the bustling harbor. Engines were banging trucks around the yard, and the fish was being loaded onto his vans. As Henry buffered up to the vans, he was met with quite a surprise. "Stepney? What are you doing here?" asked Henry. "Hello, old chap," greeted Stepney. "I've been assigned to be your banker. This train is scheduled to go up Gordon's Hill, so you'll need as much strength as you can get." "Well, I suppose, old chap, but I was expecting a much stronger engine to bank, not a measly terrier," said Henry. "Oh, we'll see about that," smirked Stepney. "I'm quite useful for my size, you know." "Fine, whatever," scoffed Henry. "Just get to the back of my train." "Righto." So Stepney went to the back of the train. The workman made sure he wasn't coupled up so that Henry could simply coast down the hill after he made it to the top. The crates of fish were all loaded, the guard blew his whistle and shone his green lamp, and the Flying Kipper was ready to go. Together, Henry and Stepney got the train out of the docks, and soon they were on the main line. "Now for a sprint, eh?" called Stepney from the back. "I'm ready when you are," replied Henry, who was much more enthusiastic about the journey now that they were flying down the line at dawn. The rails were slippery, and Henry poured every last bit of sand he had onto the line to make the journey easier. Stepney did so too. Clouds of smoke and steam billowed out into the cold morning air. "Hurry, hurry, hurry!" cried Henry. As fast as you like," replied Stepney. The train sped up quickly with two engines, and the train was soon speeding at 45 miles per hour, and it only got faster from there. Hundreds of train spotters scrambled along the line side to see the magnificent train glide along the rails. The engine made sure to whistle at everyone they met along the journey. Soon they approached Gordon's Hill. "We'll have to go even faster than this if we're to make it up this hill," called Stepney. "Then let's waste no time," shouted Henry. "Give it everything you've got." And so Stepney did, and Henry did the same. The sound echoed all throughout the island as they charged through. At last, they were at the top. "Thank you for the splendid ride," Henry shouted excitedly. "You've certainly made this a ride to remember." "No problem," replied Stepney. "Hope we can meet again soon." But neither of them knew the danger that was ahead. At the next station, Donald and Douglas were double-heading a goods train together. They had just started to leave the station when they heard a whistle. "Isn't it that Henry?" asked Donald. "It appears so, and he's going quite fast too." Then a horrible thought struck them like a blow. "Henry, slow down!" they cried. Henry heard them and tried to stop, but the ice on the rails made it impossible for him to do so. He tried using his sandboxes, but to no avail. They were empty. He overran the red signal, and then disaster struck. "Out of the way!" Stepney heard everything from the top of the hill and came rushing to the next station to find a huge mess. "Henry? Henry? Donald and Douglas, are you all okay?" cried Stepney. "Does it look like we're okay to you?" shouted the twins furiously. "We're very badly damaged. I don't see us getting out of the works for months." But there wasn't a response from Henry. Oh no, this is terrible," thought Stepney to himself. "Stay there, you two. I'm going to get help as fast as I can." "Young lad, we have no other options." But Stepney didn't respond as he raced away to fetch the breakdown train. The next morning, Henry lay dazed and surprised. "Huh? Where am I?" he asked, confused. "Don't worry, Henry," said a voice. "We're going to get you out of there." Henry looked to his right and saw Stepney with the breakdown train. "Oh, it's you," growled Henry. "I should have known better than to trust you. This accident is all your fault." My fault? How is this my fault?" asked Stepney. "Well, if you hadn't made me use my sandboxes every 20 yards, none of this would have happened," retorted Henry. "That was for safety," replied Stepney. "How was I supposed to know another goods train would be at the very next station?" "You should have considered that possibility beforehand," shouted Henry. "Okay, lot, can you move on?" interrupted Donald. "Aye," agreed Douglas. "It's bad enough that we're on our side in the snow and ice. Now you two have to have an argument? For pity's sake!" The two engines stopped arguing, and Stepney got to work clearing up the mess. However, Henry was still mad at him, and so they didn't say a word to each other for the rest of the day. Later, Sir Topham Hatt arrived. "Oh, my word," he said in shock. "This damage is more serious than I thought." You're not going to have to scrap me after this, are you?" asked Henry. He was very worried. "Oh, bless no," smiled Sir Topham Hatt. "There's a place on the mainland called Crewe, and it's quite a fine place for sick engines. They'll repair you better than we ever could, and they can upgrade your firebox to make it larger. You won't need special coal anymore. Now won't that be nice?" "Oh, yes, sir," said Henry, rather doubtfully. A year later, Henry arrived back on Sodor, and by this point Stepney had returned to the Bluebell Railway. Henry felt better than ever. Now that he had a larger firebox, he could pull trains with ease. He was so good that he even gave Gordon a run for his money. Amidst all of this, however, deep down, he still felt a little sad that he never got to reconcile with Stepney.